Welcome to episode number 7 on the Whole Circle podcast, where Joe interviews Tracey.
Welcome to the Whole Circle podcast, a show about health, wellness, food and fun. So join us, Tracey and Joe, as we interview some of the world's most amazing health and wellness experts and find out how to live your best life ever. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, so sit back and enjoy the show.
Okay guys, it's Joe here, and guess what? I am going to be asking all the questions today, just like Tracey did with me in episode number 5, where she asked me all the questions. Now it's my turn. I obviously know Tracey's story, but hers is totally different to mine, which I think is great because at the end of the day, we're all different and we're all on our own journeys and we all have our own stories. So thanks, Trace, for joining me.
I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know what you're going to ask me. Nothing is prepared, let me just say. This is totally off the cuff. So we haven't sat down and worked out scripted questions or anything like that. We have no idea. So I don't have no idea what she's about to ask me.
No, totally winging it, which is what we do a lot, actually. So we're getting quite good at winging it. I guess growing up together and you know, we've already spoken about how we did both leave home quite early. You're, 5 years older than me, so you were obviously out of home way before I was. And I guess I just wanted to know, even like you asked me, going back before children and before marriage, how was your life regarding, I guess, food, if we're going to focus on that?
Well, as you know, Joe, I joined the Navy when I was 19. So I actually had no real choice about what I ate for a very long time. And that was, whilst great in one way, you just went in and got dinner and went back to your room, or ate and then went back to your room. But in another way, it taught me nothing about food, and we had no choice but to eat what was dished up. So, it wasn't always the healthiest stuff, and there were options, but you're 19, you're not going to pick the healthiest option. So there was no, I didn't really have a choice. So for a long time, until I finally started renting a place, a group of us got together and we rented. But again, there was 5 of us in a house. Like, we just were cooking in bulk and cooking up whatever we really felt like, or like you, just having toast or cereal for breakfast and for dinner, and really eating a lot of crap. Yeah. Was shocking.
And your first, or one of your first jobs was actually, and Tassie people would know this, but Tracey worked at Legs and Breast, which is kind of like...
And no, it's not a strip joint, I'm just going to say.
I was about to say it is a chicken and chips. That doesn't really sound much better. It's, what is it? I don't know. I take
It's like Red Rooster.
Yeah, Red Rooster. There you go. But
trust me, when you're 19 and you join the Navy and people say, what did you do before? And you go, I worked at Legs and Breast. They're like, all right, nice.
Oh, hilarious. And if you know Tracey, trust me, she's not the outgoing, outside of the square stripper type at all. So,
but I do have legs and I do have breasts.
That is true. Okay. Anyway, getting back to the serious thing, I guess I would like to know. You had kids, 2 beautiful girls, and what kind of things pre-Systemix and days would you pack in their lunch boxes, or let them take to school, or have in your house?
Oh, God, I have to think back a fair way. Definitely just sandwiches, the jam sandwich, the Vegemite sandwich, cheese and sauce sandwich, ham sandwich, very boring sandwiches. What else would they pack? I'm trying to think. I have always baked biscuits and cakes, so I have to say, apart from barbecue shapes and rice crackers, we never really bought muesli bars or LCM bars or any roll-ups or any of those type of things, so they weren't eating anything like that. but they were definitely eating, just real mainstream normal stuff that you would get that was fast to make. So I guess boring stuff in a way. And now, yeah, it's totally different now.
It's just your standard lunchbox, really, isn't it? It's how we grew up. It's how our friends, family, everyone. It was just a standard Aussie household at the end of the day.
Yeah, and to be honest, like, we're not gluten intolerant or have any reactions to wheat or anything. So they still take a sandwich, but it won't be a Vegemite sandwich. And I've never bought margarine, so we have always been on butter. So there wasn't a huge transition, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I dare say, not that I know, because I don't know what you're going to ask me. But yeah, I'm trying to think back to what they did take. Definitely a lot of barbecue shapes or pizza shapes and those type of things. I used to go through a couple of boxes a week. I'd buy them in boxes and they would definitely take those. Like I said, rice crackers, Clicks biscuits with Vegemite on them. But I think because I have always baked, it wasn't hugely bad, I'm going to say.
And what about lollies and chocolate and things like that? Like, I know that especially around Christmas time and Easter time, you know, your girls would have, oh my God, a whole truckload of lollies and chocolate. And they were really good at keeping them in the bottom of the pantry, but they were there to grab whenever they were allowed, really.
Oh, absolutely.
So what's your feedback on that?
Well, we live next to the Cadbury's. Well, we live near the Cadbury's factory. So, you know, when it's 5 minutes away from your house and it's Easter time and you go down there and it's cheap, it was crazy time. But like you said, mine have always been pretty good, and it would last them probably 5 months after Easter. They would still have an Easter egg somewhere. But definitely, it was just free for all. And, you know, things like mine dance at Dancer Stedford's, and I would take them to the shop and let them spend $30 each on, and I'm going to swear, on shit. Like, it was just pure crap. And red, green, I don't know, whatever they wanted. It was just free for all. Here's $30, you go, because it was cheaper than buying it at the Dancer Stedford. And it was like literally a week's worth of crap it was out of control, totally out of control. And I think back now and go, my God.
Well, we only know what we know, don't we? And at the time, I guess we all know that it was junk food, but even myself, you know that it's junk food. We've grown up knowing what junk food is, but we never really knew what was in it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So, you know, I've always been very mindful of sugar and stuff, and we're not sugar-free or anything by any means of the food spectrum. But like, I've always been careful, like, you know, like there's always been sometimes foods. But again, because it was 1 week a year, I'm like, yep, just go for it. I'm happy, whatever, you know. But then it was Easter, and then it was Christmas. So it wasn't just 1 week a year, let's be realistic. Definitely had no idea the effects that some of the chemicals in the food could have. Like, I obviously knew sugar wasn't great for them, and I obviously knew that, you know, they're not nutritious at all. But none of that entered my head, really. Like, I just didn't care. I didn't care. Like, I didn't know, so I didn't care.
Yeah. And I would like to know, okay, so what made you think about this and think, oh, maybe I should possibly sort of learn what the ingredients actually mean?
Well, I have this sister who can be a bit of a pain in the ass sometimes, and she can nag and sometimes nag. So, for those that don't know, no. But basically, you, Jo, you convinced me, you know, over time that there was more to food than just fancy packaging and things that look pretty and things that taste great. There was things in our food that wasn't so great, and it wasn't until I came to that realization myself. So you were the inspiration.
Oh, well, I'm going to take that as a compliment. That's good. Nagging pays off.
With husbands
And
too.
I don't think I was a big nagger. I think I just, well, tell everyone the story about Hayley and the headaches.
Yeah, so she would get headaches a lot, and this went on for a long time, and I took her to the doctor, and, they'd say, oh, I don't really know, it's just a virus or something. And then, she wouldn't get them for a little while, and then she'd get this headache again, and I'm thinking, oh my God, she's got a brain tumour, she's going to die. And it wasn't until you had gone through your story with Eva, like your bits and pieces with Eva, and you were learning and you were starting to look at food and things that were in them. And I rang you one day and said, oh my God, I think my daughter's got a brain tumour. I think she's going to die, da-da-da-da. Not over dramatic at all. And you said to me, well, what does she take for lunch? And I'm thinking, who gives a shit what she takes for lunch? Like, she's got a brain tumour, Joanne. Like, are you serious? Like, what has her lunchbox got to do with anything? This is what I'm thinking in my brain. Anyway, I played along and we looked at what she took that day for lunch, and the worst thing she was taking was barbecue shapes. And you went through the ingredients list, and that literally, I was standing in the pantry while you were reading the ingredients list, and that box just landed straight into the bin, and we've never bought them since. And within 24 to 48 hours, her headache, like, it was gone, and I don't even really know that she's ever complained of once since, to be honest, if I try and think back, apart from if she's been like really hideously sick or something, but not just, oh God, I've got a headache. Oh God. And like I'd say, I don't think you're drinking enough water, or I don't think this, or I don't think that. But yeah, it was the shapes, and whatever was in those, and I now know it's MSG, was totally
Amazing,
sending her
isn't
off.
it?
Yeah. Totally.
And it's amazing what food actually does to our body. So I've heard you say lots that your kids, never had behavioural issues when it came because of food. And, I've heard you say I could give my girls a bottle of Red Cordial and their behaviour would never change. Do you still think that was true? Or looking back, do you think, oh, maybe there was a little bit of a connection with something, or not at all?
I'll be really honest. I don't think they fully react to the chemicals in the food. And because I don't want to try, I'm not fake, and that is my total honest answer. I really do think that my kids could have eaten a bag of red lollies and they wouldn't have been bouncing off the walls or having meltdowns for 3 hours, or like they wouldn't have reacted to those degrees. But in saying that, we would get McDonald's on the way home after dancing some Friday nights because they'd behaved so well. So, oh, God, you guys have been so great. All right, we'll get McDonald's tonight. And I'm not kidding, like within bed, but between then and bedtime, I could have just ripped their heads off and thrown them out the door into the rubbish bin, because it would have been
Nice.
and I remember saying to my husband, oh, I'm so glad we bought takeaway tonight, because now look at them, they're just ferals, and not realising that was food. I'm just thinking, oh, great, now you've got what you want, now you can behave badly, putting it down to that. Where in actual fact, when I look back, I actually think it was the McDonald's sending them off the Richter scale. But
It's interesting, isn't it?
Again, yeah, it's hard to know.
Yeah, and it is hard to know. And we say this a lot in our Additive-Free Made Easy course, is that it is really hard to know. And until you start a food diary, and especially I'm talking about for these families that do have issues with their children and they are trying to figure out what that issue is, until you start a food diary and you start plotting out exactly what's happening and times of day, because as parents, and I guess definitely before our additive-free journeys, you would just put it down to, oh, God, they've had a big week. Or, oh, they're just tired.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
every other excuse under the sun, because at the end of the day, who knew that it would be food?
And that's it. And it was Friday night and we were all tired and grumpy, and, and so I'd just be like, oh, God, I can't wait for them to go to bed now, blah, blah, blah. But, perhaps it was the McDonald's or the thick shake or the Fanta or whatever we happened to have bought that night for dinner, because I'll never know, really. But again, another but, we to be honest, maybe twice in the last 2 years we've probably bought McDonald's. And I did write a blog post on it before our website died, and I should do another one, but I can't quite remember exactly how it all happened and unfolded now because I wrote it pretty much that night. And yeah, my daughter, who at the time must have been, I reckon she would have been 14 and a half, nearly 15. She's now nearly 16. She thinks she's nearly 21. But yeah, she just turned into, I don't even know what I called her in the blog post, something like the devil child or something crazy.
It was food.
It was like, I can't even think what I called it now.
I'll have to think. Food.
We totally lost it when we lost our website, but
food swings, you called it, not
food
mood
swings. That's right. So yeah, she doesn't get mood swings; she gets food swings. And yeah, and I do know she works at a zoo, and when she goes out there, they pretty much let them buy and eat whatever they want out of the canteen. And I know she eats icy poles and lollies and meat pies and stuff because she can, because I'm not there to say no. And she will come home the grumpiest kid. And I'm like, oh, I had a good day at work? Yes. Oh, that's nice. Yes, it is. What are you talking to me for?
Oh, she's so lovely. She's not. You know what, though? Yeah. Do you find that even in yourself, right? So she's 16. She's old enough to know her own body. But you know what? If I have a binge one weekend, if I go out with the girls and we get dinner and I have a couple of wines, I feel like crap the next day. So it doesn't, it's it doesn't necessarily mean that it's lollies or a pie or whatever. It can just mean that your body just feels sluggish, so then you're tired, so then you're shitty, so then, so it's just a snowball effect. All right, so we've digressed a little bit, but I want to know what, so Hayley was getting the headaches and you threw the box of shapes in the bin. I also remember standing at, because we live in different states, I was on the phone standing in my kitchen, you're in your kitchen, and you read out to me the ingredients on hundreds and thousands. And I remember you going, oh, well, they're in the bin. Donk. and then something else.
You might have got a bit cool.
But you did transition very slowly, so I would love for you to talk about that, because not everyone, and again, we talk about this in Additive-Free Made Easy, we do talk about starting slow. So I would like you to tell everybody how you transitioned into an additive-free lifestyle.
Yeah, okay. So like Jo said, I did start way slowly, and I don't know if it's harder or easier with older kids, but I guess I can have them argue back at me a lot more as older kids because they can actually speak. And so there was a lot of oppositional behaviour from the girls and pretty much from the husband as well. So we could delve into that a little bit too. But I guess over time Craig came on board, one because Sister Mixon had started and this was now, something that was really passionate to me, and I was learning more and becoming more educated. So he was like, okay, I'll support you through this. And yep, I don't know whether it was just I'll humour you through this or I'll support you, but he's on board now. I think I'm going to say maybe 80% of the time. He's not as full on as me, but he'll support my decision on stuff. And the kids still have their moments, and I know, I still let them get a lunch order once a week, and I have no idea what they buy at school. But so we're not as full on as some families, and I think that's what makes us more realistic as well, because in one way we don't have to be, because it's more just a lifestyle choice. We're not totally allergic to something, or we're not reacting to things into the degree of some children, like Eva, for example, your daughter. But and I think they still have to learn. And to me, we did take it a lot slower, and it was just sort of one ingredient at a time, or one packet at a time, or one box at a time, or one bottle of sauce at a time, or those sorts of things. So as something ran out, I just buy something else, or I just started making more from scratch, or, those sorts of really simple, easy changes. I did start got a couple of girlfriends together and said, look, I can order from this website. Would you like to come in with me? Because, we had to order a minimum amount and things like that. So I started a bit of a co-op, just a couple of girlfriends and myself. It wasn't a big, large co-op or anything like that. And we should do a podcast on how to do a co-op. But just started some really basic things. I started buying more organic things. So if there was an organic brand at the supermarket, I would choose that. And, I would go to the local organic store as often as I could. It's in the city, so it's a little bit out of the way for me, but I go there as often as I can. I try and buy the freshest I can, so it's less preservatives and less chemicals sprayed on it. Just really small changes. But this has been 2 years down the track. So like I said before, we're probably an 80-20 family, so 80% good all the time and 20% not. Whereas I know, Jo, you're probably like 95 and 5. Whereas, and that works for us. Like, that totally works for us, and that's what we're about, at Sister Mixin as well. We're not about forcing anyone into something they don't want to do, or because we're real. We're just normal. I'm just trying to do the best I can.
Yeah, that's
just
it.
plod
Totally
along.
keeping it real, and I think that's a lot of the feedback we get, is that people appreciate that we keep it real, because at the end of the day, we're two mums. We've got 2 kids. We both work full time. It's crazy. We've got after school activities and all the rest of it. And if we didn't keep it real, I mean, we'd lose our marbles, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally. I do have some boundaries, though. I'll just quickly touch on those. Anything blue is totally banned. I won't budge on that. And the girls pretty much know. And I'm going to say, well, I hope that they do that out when I'm not around. So anything blue is totally banned, and we cover that in Additive-Free Made Easy why blue is so bad. It's linked to cancer and a lot of different things. So anything blue coloured, I would avoid, and it's a total no-no in our house. And like I said, I reckon I've probably only ever bought McDonald's twice in the last 2.5 years, and I would rather eat my own hand than eat McDonald's now, I think.
Yeah, it's a total mind shift, isn't it? I would actually like you to touch on that, on how you could go from, buying $70 worth of chocolate at Cadbury's of any flavour, anything, to now not ever wanting to eat McDonald's. Like, that's a massive mind switch. So how, explain that.
Well, it is and it isn't. Like, I've never been a huge fan of it anyway. However, I have definitely eaten my fair share. So, of course. But it's more, I just know how bad it is for us. And the second I realised how bad it was, I was like, why would I eat that? And I think I would have done that regardless of any education I had. Like, the second I realised how toxic it was, and it wasn't just, it's full of sugar, it's full of oil. It was a whole combination of things that made me realise, oh my God, yeah, this is just no.
Yeah. And I would like you to quickly touch on, there's I think you're in the car with the girls and they were having a bit of a whinge about, we miss out on this and we miss out on that. Share that story.
Yeah, so one day in the car, the girls, as they do, were whinging that they miss out on everything because, they're so hard done by. Now that we eat, I don't even know what they called it, a weird diet or something. And I said, well, I'd like you to tell me what you actually miss out on. And I think there was silence for about 3 minutes because no one could think of anything that they miss out on. Because I said, do you know what? We still eat chocolate. We just buy an organic brand. And, you have biscuits, you have chocolate cake, you have slices. I make caramel slice. You have ice cream. You still have chips. Really can't think what you're missing out on. And they're like, okay, fine.
Yeah, because do you, I mean... And again, this is something that we notice a lot throughout the course participants, is that they just figure out, it's like this light bulb goes off and it's like, oh, there is actually alternatives out there. It just, you can still eat ice cream. You just need to know which brand to buy or what numbers not to get. So it is, and I was at a public speaking event recently, and there was a few comments thrown from the crowd of, oh God, what do you guys eat? I said, well, we still eat everything, pretty much. It's just a matter of knowing what ingredients to look for or not to look for.
Absolutely. Some of my kids' favourite meals are, Libby loves wraps. If she could have wraps every single night of the week, she would eat wraps every single night of the week. And she would choose that over McDonald's any day. And my other daughter, Hayley, she would probably, I don't actually know what her favourite would be, maybe probably carbonara or butter chicken or something like that. But again, why would I go and buy carbonara when I can just make it myself in like 15 minutes, you know? So, yeah, it's definitely a mindset. So hopefully I'm teaching the kids too, even though they're stubborn. I don't know where they get that from.
Oh, no idea. You know what?
No,
The
me
whole
either.
family's stubborn. It's hilarious.
It is a little bit
we
funny.
make it work. That's really cool, Trace. And I think a lot of people are going to feel, I think, a lot more at ease, because my story is quite full on, and, you know, I needed to do everything yesterday, and I did do everything straight away, and I went the full whole hog because I had to. I didn't have any other choice. So for those families that are going, nah, that's not me. I cannot do that. No way.
Yeah.
I think your story is wonderful.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be hard. You know, we talk about don't stress it all the time, and that is exactly what we think every day. You know, Don't stress it. Food shouldn't be stressful. It should be fun and easy, and there's no reason to stress out about changing your life and changing the food you eat to something healthier and better and what's going to make you feel good. So, you know, I know what makes me feel bad, so I'm not going to eat it. And that's no different to anything in life. You know, why do something that's going to make you feel bad? So, yeah, it's exactly the same, but it doesn't have to be rushed, and you don't have to do what Joe did and go like cold turkey on everything. You know, we just gradually eased into it, and, you know, no one really noticed, really. Like, they don't seem to care.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a game. I think with us it also became a bit of a game. It's like, well, you're not going to beat me. Nah, no way, Jose. I am going to figure this out, and I am going to, you know, find that alternative product, or I'm going to create it and make it myself, or I'm going to Google it, or I'm going to like it. So I think for us, because we are quite stubborn, it did become a bit of a game. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Like when Craig came home and said, here's this slice that someone had at work today, and, you know, the guys at work reckon you can't make it. I'm like, yeah, watch me. Because, you know, I'm always up for a challenge. And I made it, and it was good, and they had to eat their own words.
Well, thanks for joining me today, Trace. It was fun.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was cool. We'll have to interview each other again sometime soon.
Yeah, on stubbornness. Maybe we could interview each other on stubbornness.
Yeah, that might be a bit boring. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
probably.
Well, no worries. Thank you. And I hope that you guys please leave a review if you have found the interview fun and you liked it. And yeah, you'd love to give us some feedback. We're all up for feedback. So
Yeah, and follow us on Snapchat and Facebook, Instagram, all at Sister Mixon. It's all the same. Follow us on Snapchat. It's hilarious because we post some real life situations on Snapchat sometimes. And yeah, if you want to know more about us, and I've actually written a blog post on my story, and that's over on our website, so you can go and check that out if you want to read more about it. And yeah, if you want to check this podcast out again, you can also do that at our website, which will just be sistermixon.com/podcast 7.
thanks, guys. Thanks for being here, and tune in next week. We'll see you then.